Man, I mean, like when I got into nootropics, my entire life changed. Like my productivity doubled. I was able to induce focus on cue, motivation on cue. I just felt amazing. Aniracetam, oxiracetam, 9-methyl-B-carboline. Like the choices are endless. And what you can do if you're stacking effectively, it's incredible. Episode number 133 of the Vortex Labs Nootropics podcast. I am your brain performance enhancing host. Thanks so much for being with me. My name is Ryan Ballo. Okay, so we're going to talk about my latest epic nootropic stack regimen. Look, I switch between different regimens and different stacks daily when I take them. I'm cycling on the weekends now, and I will get into all the details. And I got some pretty cool stacks that probably will be applicable to a lot of people to use to be productive, so I'm going to lay them out. In the meantime, what supports this broadcast is a couple nootropic products. Number one, the Cortex stack. Powerful pre-made nootropic stack. I mean, look, if you want to take 2 capsules, turn the brain on completely, energy, focus, motivation, productive drive, the will to work, just buy Cortex, livecortex.com. The best way to get it, and for those of you on the podcast listening, we started auto ship a couple months back, and it's been one of the most successful things we've ever launched, where basically for cheaper, you can set up to be auto build and then auto shipped Cortex every month to your doorstep. Think about that. Epic nootropic shipped to your doorstep every month. Do auto ship on the Cortex stack at livecortex.com. If you're new to nootropics, Nootropics Ground Zero. It's a video course of me explaining everything, the major chemicals that we talk about. Basically saves you 3 years of your own research and experimentation and reading disparate information on the web about nootropics. You got to get that course if you're new. If you're in a couple years and want to ascend to the 6-year mark, Nootropics Masterclass. It's another video course of me, but it's more advanced and takes you to the 6-year mark. If you're a guy that has to raise testosterone, one of our most successful consulting programs is the Viking Testosterone Protocol. Look, we'll raise your test. If you've got low test, we will get to the bottom of it and we will fix it. Get that at livecortex.com. Last thing, a couple things. If you're a business person or an otherwise productive person and you've got mental energy deficiencies or hormonal deficiencies that are fussing with your energy, usually a combination of both, but ultimately you want to just improve your productivity to 150 or 200% by improving brain performance, work with me on a one-on-one basis. We either have a 3.5-month option or a 6-month option. Slots open for both. I usually get the call from big banking executives or otherwise big entrepreneurs that need to perform better, need to double their to-do list, have a lot of work to do, and want to fully optimize their brain. Work with a 15-year neuroscience professional who's got, at this point, 6 years of consulting people on brain performance. Do all that at livecortex.com. Okay, getting into the podcast. So, look, through the years, I've done a lot of switching, like circling around regimens, coming back to regimens, creating new regimens, and then cycling back into previously known regimens. I think looking at my book, like I've got this big book of experiments. It's really just a notebook. It looks like crap at this point. Like I have to hire someone to rewrite it all into a new notebook because it's getting all damaged. It's like 10 years old at this point. But in it, I got about 4,000 experiments to date and still rising. Look, I became conscious of the need to cycle and switch between systems and vary the brain chemistry that I'm working on probably about 10 years ago. And since then, look, I mean, it's been the basis of a lot of the content that we've talked about, and my nootropic experience has been a lot smoother than like the first 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's the basis of what we talk about, what we teach in courses, what I'm talking about on the podcast, what I'm talking about on the YouTube channel. It's just all the stuff I learned after year 3. Because my first few years were just, they were characterized by like good and bad experiences, largely inconsistent experiences, because I just had no methodology or strategy to use nootropics, and now I do. Okay, so I'm going to go into my current regimen, my Monday through Friday regimen for you guys, and break it all down and kind of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. So number one, every day in the morning, I'm drinking coffee, usually 2 cups. I take a B complex. And that's a Life Extension Bioactive B, for the record. I'm taking 300 milligrams Swanson Flush Niacin. I'm taking 5K IU vitamin D, just a singular gel tab of vitamin D. That's 5,000 IU per tablet. I'm taking a gram of licorice root. That is a maintenance thing that I do these days to keep cortisol functioning the way that it needs to. It just seems very optimal for me. I take 1 capsule of a 2-a-day supplement. It's a multi by Life Extension. It just has a lot of really good stuff. If I'm not eating a ton of vegetables over the course of a week, I get micros in that supplement. And then the occasional St. John's wort hypericin base just kind of balances out my mood, keeps neurotransmitters alive longer. If I'm careful, it actually stacks very well with nootropic stacks that I end up bringing in. Okay, so that's basically every day, no matter what I do. That's my morning regimen. On to the nootropics. So I'm taking nootropics at the moment 5 days a week, and I'm cycling on the weekends. I'm on, like lately, at least I've been on a particularly heavy schedule, working with clients, doing content. And though a major part of it is I'm building out a new part of Cortex Labs, trying to reach an entirely new market with nootropics, just kind of like expanding the knowledge of the of nootropics to more of the world. And that, that's going to take 6 months to a year to carve out that entirely new market. I'm just trying to reach a very specific niche of people that are doing something very specific that nootropics would make their life a lot easier. On Mondays, okay, so here's the regimen. On Mondays, with my morning supplement regimen, I'm taking the AACT stack, okay? The AACT stack is Alcar, Alpha GPC, Caffeine, Theanine. It's one of the easiest and most effective stacks out there if you can get your doses right. My doses are the following. For Alcar, 250. For Alpha GPC, 50. These are milligram quantities. For caffeine, 200 milligrams, and that I'm really just including my cup of coffee, my couple cups of coffee in the morning. It ends up about 200 milligrams, and then 100 milligrams of L-theanine. It's just a perfect balance of sort of like waking me up, getting the processing going, having that background cool. You're almost like doubling down on the whole caffeine, theanine situation, right? That like great synergy, but adding more of the stimulant and processing nature of it by bringing in Alcar and Alpha GPC. So that's my Monday regimen. And Monday's really not a particularly heavy productivity day. I mean, I probably work 4 or 5 hours getting stuff done that I need to. A lot of administrative stuff takes place on Monday, going back and forth with my clerks and shipping people on what's happening on that side, if people have inquiries, etc. So that's my Monday regimen. Tuesdays are actually my Mondays, right? Like typical Mondays. So I go really hard on Tuesdays. So this is what I do. I take 100 milligrams modafinil, and I still have 100 milligram modafinil tablets that I got from, what was it? I think it was XL Modafinil, modafinilxl.com. Like a long time ago, I bought like a lot of it, so I just have it. Because those websites end up being fleeting. They end up getting taken down or they switch domains or whatever. 100 milligrams modafinil, 500 milligrams oxiracetam, like my favorite racetam at this point, 200 milligrams choline bitartrate, 50 milligrams lemon balm, and I will explain, and 10 milligrams of vinpocetine. That stack takes me until about like 6 p.m. from 9 a.m. in the morning. I mean, that's when I start working, basically executing work the entire time with pee breaks and like a lunch break or something. So I will get to this, but just suffice it to say, I've been working on GABA more. I've just noticed, like, again, this is about being conscious of what's happening in your brain and trying to understand the chemistry. I've just needed to optimize GABA lately, right? I've been a little on edge. I like the feeling of a balanced stack, and I also like, GABA's inhibition quality on some of the excessive neurotransmitter firing that might leave you ruminating about crap in your life or just a little anxious or something. It just kind of chills me out. I've been working on that system more, and it's really helping. Wednesdays, I focus strictly on stimulation, okay, and not like acetylcholine, dopamine specifically, glutamate, GABA, serotonin. Like I'm just focusing on stimulation, energy compounds. So this is what I'm taking. I'm taking 100 milligrams of dynamine, 50 of theobromine, 40 of picamilin, and then around 1 p.m., so this happens at like 9 a.m., then around 1 p.m., I'm doing 2 sprays of intranasal NALT, N-acetyl-L-tyrosine. So like I haven't really fussed with NALT in a long time. I haven't really fussed with tyrosine in a long time. It's one of those compounds that if you take it too long, too consistently, it can absolutely end up making you create too much adrenaline and neuroadrenaline, and that just makes you anxious, right? It also was helping you synthesize thyroid hormones. So you kind of have to give it a break, but like every now and then, like what is it, 4 or 5 months or something, like I cycle back onto it, and it's awesome. It's kind of like a mild amphetamine, but without major side effects. Yeah, and it's like at that point at 1 p.m., my morning stack is kind of wearing off for the most part. I still got some of the picamillen like chilling me out. So that is also what synergizes well with the stimulant Nalt. And then I just spray 2 sprays of intranasal Nalt. And then from 1 p.m. to 4 or 5 p.m., I'm just like, I just feel awesome, right? I have energy. I'm ready to work. My brain is working fast. And so I'm going to town. Thursdays, this is one of my favorite stacks, and we talked about this on the channel some time ago. Thursdays, I'm taking 50 milligrams of bromontane, 10 milligrams of coliracetam, which is a choline uptake agent, 200 milligrams of choline bitartrate, and 300 milligrams of Alcar. This stack here gives me clear focus and central processing for about 5 hours, and I love it. It's a stack that I put together of these compounds because I just really like bromontane, but wanted to see if I can amplify it. I put it together somewhere around 6-7 months ago, like a template with these compounds. It's pretty similar, and it sort of varies from time to time that I bring it back in for a month or so, once a week, but it's basically that same template: 50 of bromontane, 10 of coliracetam, 200 choline bitartrate, 300 of Alcar. Clear and focused for about 5 hours. And I love that stack. Fridays are like another like typical what other people think is Monday, where I try to get a lot done. I don't actually do that on actual Monday. I do that on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I get a ton of stuff done on Friday. And the reason I do that, so I have to obviously situate my stack around that, is because chilling out over the weekend, like I want to feel comfortable doing that. Like I want to feel comfortable hanging out with my family or doing whatever it is that I end up doing, but comfortable that I've gotten the work done that I need to do. I've dealt with clients in a really, really awesome manner on the consulting side, and like I can actually relax on the weekends and do stuff like camp or whatever. So Fridays I do the following. I take 2 capsules of the Cortex stack in the morning. That stack is like, honestly, it's like modafinil for me. It just like wakes everything up, makes my brain like hyper. It's almost like Adderall without the side effects for me. A lot of people respond the same way. It's just a powerful stack. I take Cortex with my supplement regimen, right? So B complex, multivitamin D, and some of the other stuff that I talked about. So I work the whole morning basically on Cortex. Like Cortex is just a standalone, powerful nootropic stack. At about 2 p.m., when like I'm feeling Cortex kind of wane and wear off a little bit, I'm like wanting to kind of just get my energy back, I take a little bit of a break from work and just sort of step away, talk to my chick, hang out with my cats, go outside, do whatever, maybe take a walk. And then I take 500 milligrams of aniracetam, 50 milligrams of phenylpiracetam. This is at 2 p.m. And then I usually am eating 2 to 3 eggs, like with a meal around that time. It's like a couple eggs, maybe some toast, throw it on a sandwich, put some cheese on it, or a couple eggs with bacon. That's just, look, I'm taking choline sources sometimes other days, but yeah, I can get my choline from food if I'm conscious of it, and it actually ends up working perfectly. That takes me until about 7 p.m. with like pretty perfect energy and brain performance. And again, Fridays are the days where I'm like trying to get the most that I can get done so that I feel comfortable like chilling out on the weekends. I'm cycling off on the weekends, both for good measure, but also to give myself a break from like using my brain. Like I sleep more on the weekends, I rest more, I take naps during the day, I hang out with my chick and my cats. I basically just like reset for the week. And then come Monday, my brain is fresh and ready. I've cycled correctly and I'm ready to get back on the wagon to be productive. So that's my regimen. That is my weekly regimen. This regimen is gonna change, right? They change over the course of like I'll execute them for 30 days or something, and then I'll switch the regimen. Over the last 6 months, like I've been setting up my regimens, like looking back at the book of experiments and noting what works, what doesn't work. I usually stick with regimens like this for like 30 days, and then I map out an entirely different sort of set of regimens for the next 30 days that may be working on like similar chemistry, yes, but in different ways. Like if I feel like I need to maintenance a receptor site or a series of receptor sites, I'll do that. If I feel like I need to maintenance transporters, there's all these cues. The brain, if you know it, will tell you what you need, right? And if you're very, very advanced on nootropics and research chemicals, you sort of know what it is you need to take to achieve that outcome. Okay, so that is my current regimen. I think I'll probably try to make a habit of like doing when the regimen switches and it's set like a new regimen is set up with different compounds of reporting it, because I think this is really interesting and sort of like, we're talking about instructional stuff and how to really strategically use nootropics. But I want to kind of talk more about specifically what I'm doing, because a lot of people seem to like that. So thanks so much for being with me, guys. Remember, what supports this broadcast is a couple nootropic products. Get the Cortex stack, livecortex.com, very powerful. Get the auto ship option if you just want no hassle, cheaper nootropics shipped to your doorstep every month without question. You don't have to do anything. You set it up. It takes 2 minutes. Auto ship. It's done. Go subscribe to Cortex. Do it at livecortex.com. You'll end up getting it for cheaper. If you're new to nootropics and really, really need to advance yourself into the 3-year area and save yourself some time and get good stacks, get Nootropics Ground Zero. It's a video course I created for people that are new. Nootropics Masterclass for people that are in 2-3 years but want to ascend to the 6-year mark. Viking Testosterone Protocol. Epic, effective, successful protocol to raise total and free testosterone in men. Get it at livecortex.com. You'll be working directly with me. And if you're a person that wants to work with me on a one-on-one basis, hire me. Look, I've got 3.5-month options and 6-month options. Those are perfect time frames to really, really nail down a bunch of nootropic stacks, a great supplement regimen, really every supporting chemical that you need with the proper cycling strategies to make you feel amazing and make you perform at 150 or 200% above your baseline. At this point, like I'm mostly booked, but there's always slots because people drop off because we're done. I'm working with bankers. I'm working with big business people. I'm getting calls from athletes. I'm getting calls from folks in the NFL. I'm getting calls from like all these people and working with people. It's just sharpening my skills. Man, work with me on a 3.5-month or 6-month basis. Do that at livecortex.com. Email me, Ryan at livecortex.com, if you have questions about what we do and what exactly, if we're a good fit. It is at this point my favorite thing to do. Working with other live people, making their brains perform awesomely. Those of you with PSSD, the PSSD full, there are slots open for that. And the PSSD basic package, there are slots open for that too. Check them out at livecortex.com. And again, email me, Ryan at livecortex.com, if you have questions. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Talk to you next time.